Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, Mr. Locario, the bad boy of the dating game. What's good? So, in this audio, I want to talk about your perception of the game versus the reality of the game. Because sometimes what you perceive is not what the reality is. So, what am I talking about? Let's say, for example, right, you see a good-looking guy walking down the street with a good-looking girl, right? So, some people are going to think, especially guys, they're going to think like, oh, well, he got that good-looking girl because he's good-looking. And that's the reason why that happened, because she thought he was good-looking and that's why she wanted him, right? Now, first of all, you see them walking down the street, you don't even know if they're together. That could be his sister or his cousin, you understand? Or just some friend that he works with at work. You don't even know what their relationship is together, right? Now, let's say they are together. They could have gotten together because, he actually had some game. Maybe at first when he was trying to holler, she wasn't really into him. And then he grew on her. And then eventually she was like, okay, I'm kind of feeling this guy. But it really didn't have to do too much with how, his good looks. It had to do with his game. That could have happened, right? And it could have also happened where she just thought he was cute and was like, all right, I'm going to go out with you because I think you're cute. That also happens. But it's not always just the fact that she thinks that he's good looking. But your perception is that these guys that are good looking are only getting women because they're good looking and that's all they have to do and that's all they have to be. Right? But that is not the reality of the situation. Let's take a guy who is not so good looking with a hot girl. Most people are going to see him walking down the street with the woman. And they're going to think, oh, she must be with him because he has a lot of money. That's what people are going to think because that's what, that's how they perceive it. They're like, oh, well, that's what it has to be because that's what they've been taught, right? And you might see the guy with a nice car, so you're assuming, oh, well, he has a nice car. That means he has money. That's why she's with him. You understand? But maybe this guy has game. Maybe this guy was, getting in her ear, getting in, and spitting that game, and she was feeling it. And then that's how they got together because she started to like him because of how tight his game was, right? But the thing is, when it comes to the dating game and everything, and just in life in general, people, your perception of what's going on could be basically, opposite of what's really happening. The reality of the situation could be totally different than what you're perceiving. You understand? So, for example, if you guys look at any of these pickup artist videos, you always see these videos of these guys going up to girls in the street and then, getting numbers, and you see videos of dudes that are like meeting up with a girl or talking to a girl for like a minute, and then they start making out and all this other crazy shit, and you're like, and then you're watching and you're like, oh my God, that's amazing. These guys are like, that's so cool. How did they do that? That's like, wow, I can't believe what I just saw. Right? So that's your perception. Your perception is that these guys just, they just go up to women and just say one or two things, and women just like give them numbers and kiss them and all this other stuff, right? Now, the reality of the situation is that a lot of these videos that you're seeing is orchestrated, meaning that the girls that you see in there are models or actresses that they hired to be in the video, right? So when, they start the video and they tell the girl, behind the scenes, like, hey, we're going to be walking up, Main Street, and, make sure you're standing at the corner. I'm going to come up to you and act like I'm hollering, and then we're going to talk a little bit, and then you're going to give me your number. Like, they orchestrate this shit. They put it on film. They show it to you, and then you believe it. But the reality of the situation is that it's all orchestrated. Now, I'm not saying all these videos are orchestrated like that. I'm just saying that, there's a lot that are, and then you believe that, and then you think that this is, reality that you're watching. And then you get fooled. Because it's weird. A lot of people ask me, they're like, Mr. Locario, how come you don't do videos of you hollering at girls in the street and everything? And, it's weird because it's like, I'm not saying that I will never do it, but the reason why I haven't really been doing it or really done it is because, one, I personally have I don't know if it's just me. I have this thing where I feel weird about filming people and them not knowing I'm filming them. I don't know why. I don't know. It just feels funny to me. But anyway, that's one reason. But also, the fact that I know that it can be faked makes it not appealing for me to do that to show people. You understand? So because the fact that I can go and hire some girls and do this and do that, and then I'll be like, hey, look at this cool video of me, going in the street and picking up girls, and I never get rejected. I have this foolproof method of never getting rejected, and you're going to watch that, and you're going to be like, oh my God, Mr. Lucario is so awesome. He never gets rejected. So now I'm shaping your perception of me, and then now you're going to be like, oh, I'm going to go buy all his audio programs and his books because this guy just never gets rejected. It's amazing. Never seen this before in my life. You know what I'm saying? Or I can orchestrate it to where I get rejected sometimes so that you can sort of even believe it even more, even though it's still all orchestrated. Because I can say, okay, these girls are going to reject me. These girls are not going to reject me. I could tell them that this is how we're going to set it up so it looks more quote unquote realistic and all this other craziness. Now, I'm not saying that all these pickup artist guys do it. And, I think it's, it serves its purpose in certain cases when it's actually real. And guys can, just kind of see guys approaching girls and all that other stuff. And it's entertaining and it's cool. But again, the reality is different a lot of times than what your perception of it. You understand? So it's like what happens is that people see things and you guys are conditioned to think that, these things are happening in a certain way. And then that becomes part of how you look at the world realistically, and then that basically affects how you learn game and how you actually apply your game and make things happen. So this is why it's important to understand the actual reality of the situation and not just what you're perceiving, because what your perception can be true, like what you're seeing can be the real stuff, but a lot of times it can be false. You understand what I'm saying? So the thing is, and I'll give you a little story too. Like, I remember when I was in high school, and I was supposed to go to the prom or whatever, and I was supposed to go with this chick, and then we kind of, was like we started arguing with each other or something, and we just wasn't feeling each other at some point. So then, we weren't gonna go to the prom together, and then what happened was when I was in high school, I was the type of guy that people, they see me as the type of dude that, hollers at girls, get girls and all that other stuff, not to the point where I'm at now, but, I was like, known for trying to holler at chicks and all that other shit. Right. So what happened was, since me and the girl didn't go to the prom, it was kind of like, too late for me to get another date. So then, I said, forget that. You know what I'm going to do? I said, I'm going to go to the prom, and I'm going to bring my cousin to the prom. And my cousin, she was older. And she was cute. She's a good looking chick. So then what happened was I roll up into the prom with my cousin, and imagine you're in high school and, one of your friends or a dude in your school or class comes to the prom with a grown ass looking woman. You understand what I'm saying? And a hot grown ass looking woman. Right? So none of these people knew that was my cousin. Well, all they see me doing is rolling up in there with a hot grown-ass looking woman, right? So now, in their minds, with them already thinking that I was already cool, in general, just for hollering at girls here and there, generally, now it was like, oh, this guy's the fucking man. That's what they're dudes is giving me props and shit. Chicks was hating, So, but none of them knew that was my cousin. You understand what I'm saying? So the thing is that their perception of what was going on made them think and feel a certain thing. But the reality of the situation was this was my fucking cousin. You understand what I'm saying? But see, that's what I'm talking about, is that the things that you see is not always the reality. It's the same way where when you see these rap artists where they have, the chains and the watches and the jewelry and the cars and stuff. And, a lot of the stuff that they basically rented out, you see them on these MTV crib shows, and they freaking rent out a house. It's not really even their house, but the way that your perception of it is like, damn, these guys are so rich, they got so much money, they're doing all these big things. But a lot of it is just a show to make you feel a certain way or see them a certain way. You understand? And the reason why it's important for you to understand the reality versus just what you're perceiving or your perception of it, and actually, you have to actually think critically about what you're seeing, is because, again, it's going to affect how you learn the game and how you apply the game to your life. Because if you're the type of guy who says, or you have this perception that, well, only good looking guys get hot girls, and since I'm not good looking, I can't get a girl, and that's why it's not going to happen for me. If you think that, if that's your perception, then it's going to be hard for you to get chicks, because you're going to be stopping yourself just off of that belief. And then the thing is that my question is, have you actually went out and tried to get the girls? You understand? So remember, the game is about you. So have you tried to get the girls? Have you went out and tested it for yourself? Have you went out and tested it and seen if you are going to succeed? Versus fuck all that other shit that you've been taught to think, and all this other stuff that your perception is clouding it's clouding like how you can actually apply the game to yourself. Because if you have this perception that, only good looking guys get girls, and you're not like the best looking dude, then you're gonna figure, well, I can't do it. You understand? But the thing is that you don't really even know if you can do it, because you've never really done it, because you don't even think you could do it in the first place, because your perception is that only good looking guys can do it. You understand? So it's very important that, you understand that there's a difference between the perception and the reality. And the only way that you're going to understand the reality is if you go out there and do certain things, and you go out there and put yourself out there. So then now you can say, okay, let me see what's going on with me while I'm doing what I'm doing. It's the same thing with the pickup artist videos, or approaching, when they're approaching girls in the street and all that. Like, yeah, it's entertaining. It's fun to watch and everything. But at the same time, you still have to go out there and do it yourself. You understand? You still have to make it happen for you to see if it's going to work for you, or what's going to work for you. And then learn what you need to learn to make it work for you, and then see what's realistically going on for you. Because, the way that the world is set up is that there's so many things set up to make you see certain things a certain way, right? And if you believe everything that you're seeing, you're going to be confused about what's really going on in life, and how it pertains to you. You understand? So you have to understand the difference between, what's really going on and what's, not real, what's fake, what's the bullshit. Because perception, what you perceive, is not necessarily the reality. You understand? So that's all I wanted to say for today, guys. Make sure you click the link below to get my free ebook, The Magnificent 10 Crucial Dating Tips for Men. And if you have any questions, hit me up at askmrlucario@gmail.com, and I'll holler at you later. Remember, the truth is inside you. Peace.
Step up your dating game and join dating coach Mr. Lucario's Bad Boy and Bad Girl membership program. By becoming a member, you will receive 45 through 90-minute audio and video step-by-step dating advice tutorials every month that are guaranteed to help you get what you want out of your dating life. Go to MrLucario.com to join today. That's MrLucario.com. MrLucario.com.